as well as a privilege to be here with each and every person tonight. And again, first of all, I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule for being here with us. 245 people on the call right now. More people are joining, trying to get into the room. We've got quite a few people here that are trying to get into the call. So we're giving them just a few minutes to get going this evening. So again, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for being here on our call. And as I said, what we do is very, very simple, but it's time to get our call kicked off for this evening, simply because, ladies and gentlemen, we have already been alerted that we have our signal all ready for this evening. So because of that, we're going to go ahead and get our call going here. So first of all, let me explain what we're doing here tonight. You are invited for the first time to something called the BGwealthsharing Group, right? The world's largest hedge fund. I just need to know, by show of hands, how many people are brand new here for the first time. Give me thumbs up. Click the little emoji at the bottom with the thumbs up, and I want to see how many people are here for the first time. Wow, a lot of thumbs up this evening. That is absolutely amazing, guys. I can't believe it. I mean, the screen is full of thumbs up coming up. So this is a Friday evening. First of all, let me say this is going to be a call that's totally different than what you probably are accustomed to. The person that invited you on this call, they thought enough about you because they just want you to see what they're doing. They don't have to have you join them. They don't require that you join them in order for them to make money. So relax. It's not one of those calls where somebody's going to try to convince you or somebody's going to try to sell you on something. This is nothing more than an information overview call. What that means, ladies and gentlemen, by a information overview call, that simply means that all this is, ladies and gentlemen, it is a call that you have been invited to get information on what's going on with this company and nothing more. That's all this is, okay? So I want to ask by way of, a question here. Now, it says down at the bottom of your screen, it says double your investment in under 60 days. Now, I'm not making that statement. I'm just reading on the screen. Now, I want to ask, because there's been people who've been in this company for more than 60 days. And if you've been in this company for more than 60 days, I want to see if you doubled your investment in under 60 days. I want to see a bunch of hearts on the screen right now. This is for our new people. Take a look at the amount of hearts that are coming up. These are people telling you their story. I am not saying anything. I am not, ladies and gentlemen, making any type of claims at all whatsoever. I'm just sharing with you what people are telling you and saying right now, and that's what you're seeing on our screen right now. So they're telling you their story, and I think that is so powerful that they would tell you their story. So let's talk here a little bit about our disclaimer. First of all, this presentation is not financial advice, nor is it enticement or a guarantee of results. Results in the BG project are based on your efforts and determination and focus, and following the instructions and guidance of Professor Stephen Beard for the trading signals. I want you guys to understand that. BG is a Web3 trading project based on the DSJ exchange that requires crypto to participate. It is just that simple. Nothing more, nothing less. That's all this is. So what I'm sharing with you, it says that today's presentation is not an investment advice, an offer or solicitation for the purpose or sale of investments. Past performance is not indicative of future results. The cryptocurrency market is highly volatile and involves a high amount of risk in which you may lose some or all of your invested funds. Some or all of your invested funds. Guys, I always put that disclaimer out there because we're dealing with the cryptocurrency market. We're dealing with trading. And so you can experience losses. In fact, since I've been in a company now over 1 year, I've had 5 days, I believe it's 5 days, that the market, we had a loss on a certain trade, but the beauty of it is we received replacement trades And the replacement trade, we actually end up earning almost 3 times as much as what we would have earned on a trade that we lost. So every single day since March of last year, when I got started with this, has been nothing more than a positive winning day. And that's what I love about this project. So what I want to share with everybody is a win-win-win process here. And this is what we do to trade with DSJ. I want everybody that's brand new to take a look at this. You know, how do we take trades? Well, first of all, in order to be able to trade on the platform, you're going to deposit cryptocurrency into the DSJ exchange, because in order to trade on the financial market, you have to trade with an exchange or a broker, period. You can't do it on your own. So what happens is there's 2 different companies here. One is called BG. That's where they have an AI that wins, ladies and gentlemen, over 99% of its trades. And so all we do is we copy a code, we paste the code, and then the AI takes the trade. Now, on every winning trade, it's a guaranteed minimum profit of 60%. It could be as high as 65%, but that's on every winning trade. That's how much they're willing to give us, is 60 to 65% of the profit. They also said that when they take a trade, they're not going to use more than 1% of your asset value of the initial trade. That means if you deposit $500, they will not, ladies and gentlemen, risk more than $5 on that first initial trade. Now, how do we trade? All we're going to do is we're going to go and copy a code from a site called BondChat. Then we're going to paste the code into a DSJ account, and we're going to hit the word confirm. Now, I'm going to ask by show of hearts here on the line with us, how many people here on the line with us right now are getting ready to take this exact same trade that we're getting ready to take? Let me see a bunch of thumbs up. Let me see some hearts. If you're getting ready to do exactly what we're about to show new folks what we do. Now, so you see, ladies and gentlemen, the screen is totally full of people that are doing this exact same trade that I'm talking about. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attempt to log in, and let me see if it lets me in here. Got a bunch of security on here. Of a new iPhone. Okay, perfect. Just got in on that. So I'm going to go and I'm going to get in onto BondChat. I am going to go to it to see if the code has been released, and yes, it has been released. So right now, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to pull up my account, and I am going to share with everybody. I'm going to share with everybody how we go, we copy, and we paste the code. So let me log in. Got a lot of people joining us tonight, guys, and it's just amazing. Let me go ahead and see if this allows me to show everyone. I'm going to click on our share button. We're going to share our screen, and we're going to start a broadcast. Now, ladies and gentlemen, because I'm doing this kind of like one-handed, right? If you guys can see our screen, and I'm bringing up the screen, I want to make sure that if you guys can see our screen, our new screen, and we're broadcasting, give me a bunch of thumbs up. If we're not, if you don't see our screen, I'll have to go back to Zoom and try it one more time, because it doesn't look like I'm broadcasting here. So let me see. Let me go back to my Zoom meeting, because it looks like I got removed out of my own meeting here for a second. So let's go back. We're going to try this one more time to get back in on the Zoom, because for some reason it is not. There we go. All right, so I believe now our screen is showing. So now, ladies and gentlemen, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into BondChat, which you can see right here inside of BondChat. There's a code. Now, all you new folks, this is all that we do every day. So right down here at the bottom where it says Stephen, BG Stephen Beard, I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to hit the word copy. Now all I'm going to do is slide this up, and I'm going to go to my DSJ site that I have open. Okay. I'm going to click on futures at the bottom. I'm going to click on invited me. This is all that we do. And see where it says, please enter the order code. I'm going to put my finger in the box, and I'm going to hit the word paste. The code just got pasted in there. I'm gonna hit confirm, and I got a check mark. And all I do now is check by clicking on the position order tab. It should say pending, which it does, and that's it. Now, if you're brand new, how many of you feel like you can use your phone and do the exact same thing that I did? Go in on one site and click copy, then go in on the other site and then paste it. If you, I'm looking at all the thumbs up coming up. See, it's not difficult at all, right? You can see what we do is very, very simple. And that's what I love about this, ladies and gentlemen. There's nothing complicated about this at all. We absolutely love what we're able to do every single day. Now, what I'm going to do is share with you what happens if the trading signal fails. Well, again, let's say a person started with $500, and this is $500 of cryptocurrency. What that means is if the trade goes in, you copy and paste, it's only going to risk $5 of the 500. So if you win about $3 or $3.25. If you lose, you're going to lose a full $5. It's just that simple. Now they move to phase 2. And when they move to phase 2, they give you a replacement code, and they're going to risk 3% of your account, which means roughly around $15. And at that point, if the trade wins, you're going to win about $9 to $9.75. See, you're going to win about 3 times the amount of what you would have made on the first trade. Now, how many people here on the line like that? If you lose a trade, the next trade, you can even make more than what you would have made on the first trade. Do you like that? Absolutely. And ladies and gentlemen, since March, and I've been doing this now for a whole year. And the interesting thing is my anniversary dates that I started was on March the 3rd when I placed my first 2 trades. And ladies and gentlemen, since that time period, it's only lost about 4, maybe 5 trades. And in all that time, it has gave us replacement trades each and every day. So for an entire year, every day has been nothing but pure profit every single day. Now, I'm not saying, ladies and gentlemen, that is what you are going to experience. I am just telling you what I've experienced in the past year. Here's the reality of things. When you do lose a trade, like you look here, this is an example of a trade that was lost. What they do is they give you a full breakdown of the exact instrument that was traded, BTC versus USDT. It also shows you, ladies and gentlemen, what you're risking. The 1% of this person's account, they were risking $792. They lost the trade. This happened back on 12/9/2025. This was December the 9th. And then, ladies and gentlemen, they gave them the replacement code, same date, 12/9/2025. And when they took that trade, they risked 3% of the account, and they ended up earning $1,453. Ladies and gentlemen, absolutely, we love it when we get to trade every day, but we don't feel threatened anytime we lose a trade. Why? Because we know the replacement process is there. Now, here's an example, and it is not, ladies and gentlemen, this is not a guaranteed income that I'm sharing with anybody. I'm just sharing with you. If, like me, for the past year, and every single day I took the 2 trades that I were given, every single day it showed out to be pure profit. This is showing you that if a person put in $3,000 and earning every day about 1.2 to 1.3, that's taking 2 trades a day, percent, it's showing you that mathematically you would end up in 60 days, I want you guys to see this, somewhere between $6,000 and $6,500. Now, that's not guaranteed. This is just showing you mathematically what we have been experiencing, what I've been experiencing over the past year, every single day. So with the power of this, we're just telling everybody that this is a process. Look what happens in just 60 days. So you can imagine what would happen in a year's time. Now, at this point, here's what people do. They get excited about what they see, and then they say, I'm going to go Google this. So here's a big question. Should what I find on Google about this company make my decision in whether I should join it all or not? I want you to think about this, because you're seeing and hearing from people who've been in this for a year, and now you go out on Google or social media and look for as if that's going to give you proof of what's actually happening inside the company. Well, let's ask Google itself. Even Google tells you not to trust Google. And you notice right here, it says, while Google is a powerful AI convenient free tool for gathering preliminary financial information, it should not be considered a fully trustworthy standalone source of personalized financial advice. It also shows here high inaccuracy rates. It says studies have found that Google's AI-generated answers can be inaccurate or misleading roughly 37 to 43% of personal finance searches, period. So Google tells you not to trust Google as a sole source of finding out whether something is accurate or true. How about Reddit? Reddit goes and it says Reddit is not research. It's normally a search engine. That's all it is. And if you notice up the top, it says Reddit should not be treated as a universal, trustworthy source for critical advice, health, or financial decisions. You guys understand this? And it says here that the content is produced by users, not experts, making it susceptible to bias, rumors, and inaccuracies. So, ladies and gentlemen, if this is the case, why not examine looking at this opportunity from the inside of the company and not from opinions that are meant and that are literally just transmitted and put out on social media? It just makes sense. So let's look at what we have here. First of all, we know that BG Wealth back in 2022 went to DSJ Exchange, and they signed a 10-year cooperation agreement with them so that all of us could use the trading benefits coming from BG, being able to use the AI that wins over 99.6% of its trades, and BG doesn't have a dime of our money. We don't give BG not 1 cent. We safely put our money into DSJ, which is a separate company, a separate platform, of which we can withdraw our funds at any time. These are funds that you control. And so for the next 10 years, from 2022, right, August of 2022, that means we got about another 7 years left. You and I have the opportunity, ladies and gentlemen, that we can use the AI. And because of being on this platform, DSJ has agreed that we can keep 60 to 65% of the profit on each trade, and they will split the remaining profit with BG, and that's that remaining 35 to 40% of the profit. So guys, it's a win-win scenario. And that's what I tell everybody. You have to understand this is something that's really powerful. Now, when it comes to DSJ Exchange, their company literally has business certificates and registrations in more than 30 countries and regions around the world, including the Australia Securities and Investment Commission, which they're registered. And here in the United States, they filed with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Committee. That's all, ladies and gentlemen. When I went online and I did the research, I went to the actual government sites and I did the research and saw that was all that I needed to see, because that is the only source out there that mattered to me of whether this was something that was viable in which the country in which I live in. Now, are all people in all countries going to be able to participate in this program? Absolutely not. Some countries won't allow you to participate in this company, just like some countries won't allow you to participate or buy Bitcoin. Did you know in China, Bitcoin is illegal, but it's not in other places? So depending on the region that you live in is going to depend on if you get the opportunity to do this program at all or not. Now, here's the genius behind the program. Professor Stephen Beard And what's interesting about him, ladies and gentlemen, he has a strong track record in trading and in mentoring and focusing on risk control. That's his whole thing. When you're trading, he's more concerned about the funds that you put into trade with, ladies and gentlemen. He's more concerned about that than anything else. And that's why whenever we take trades, he will not risk more than 1% of your trading account. I think that is absolutely incredible. You know, as of November 2025, we had over 400,000 people that were in the company. Now there's over 500,000 people. So now it says that the philosophy behind BG is that he's really looking at helping over 1 million people to change their financial situation. So let me ask you a question, ladies and gentlemen. If you feel like Professor Stephen Beard, because of providing you with the 2 codes or more per day, is changing your life, let me see a bunch of hearts on the screen. Now, I want you new folks to look at the amount of hearts that are coming up on the screen. These are people telling you their story, what they're experiencing, not someone on social media you don't know. These are people that invited you to this call and they're sharing with you what's happening with them. Now, remember, they don't need you to join because they're going to earn income anyway. I have family members, ladies and gentlemen, that never join, and that's okay. But guess what? They saw my life change. They saw me being able to move out from living with family members because I had suffered some very tragic financial difficulties to now I'm in my brand new home, ladies and gentlemen. And they've seen how many times that I've withdrawn, and they see my life changing. In fact, my mom said to me the other day, what in the world are you into? What have you found, right? So bottom line is, you know, the key is, ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't matter. And believe me when I say this, it doesn't matter what someone else's opinion is of BG, DSJ, or of what you're doing. The only thing that matters is every day if you get the copy and paste and you get the profit, and when you hit the withdraw button, if you can take your withdrawals, that's the only thing that matters. That's the only thing that's going to matter to you and to the people that you share this with in the end. See, we have 5 unique advantages here, ladies and gentlemen. We talked about the AI that wins over 99.6% of its trades. We talked about the company being compliant and legal. We talked about the long-term project, that 10-year agreement. But what I haven't let you know is some extra things that Professor Stephen Beard said, you know what, I'm going to go beyond what is written. So what he did is back in 2024, he put up 30 million pounds or $40 million to ensure the safety of all members' funds that they put in the DSJ. So whatever you spend out of your pocket, putting in DSJ to trade, if you follow his trade signals correctly and you are able to lose the entire amount of your account, he will draw from that fund to replace what you lost. Now, what he will not replace, because you're dealing with a live account, if you go in, and everybody will see in their back office, there's buttons at the bottom called put and call, and it's also called call. If you go and you click on those buttons and you initiate a trade of your own and you lose that trade, the funds will come immediately out of your account. The professor will not replace that. So I tell every single person that comes in, do not go in back there and pressing those buttons of the put and the call and taking trades of your own. Now, I'm not saying that to scare anyone. But if you hit the put or call button by accident, one day I was walking, I had my phone in my pocket, I had the DSJ site up, and I pulled it out of my pocket, and the put or the call button had been placed. It said to me, it asked me the final question. It said, are you sure you want to risk 50% of your account on this trade? And I was like, oh my God, no, what happened? Because my phone was in my pocket and it was pushing buttons. And I was able to close out immediately. But I just heard a story today about a gentleman who pushed the buttons. He lost, ladies and gentlemen, over $500,000 $100,000 out of his account in less than 60 seconds. I am saying that to let everybody know this is a real live trading account. So do not go back there pushing buttons and doing things you're not supposed to do. All we do, ladies and gentlemen, is we copy and we paste. We let the AI take the trades. Even though I'm a trader myself, I would not dare go back there and try to take trades on my own, because this is a different type of trading. These are trading futures and options. And so therefore, ladies and gentlemen, it is not my forte. This trades 7 days a week is trading cryptocurrency. I trade a whole different project or a whole different indices. So again, that's not my forte. Now, here's what's interesting. When you go out there online, people tell you that, oh, I heard you can't withdraw from this company. That's one of the number one things that I see people all the time say. And I say, oh, that's interesting, because I can go in my back office and show you on every withdrawal, every date, the withdrawal that I put in, they were all paid. So social media would make you believe that you can't withdraw. People can't withdraw from this company. But the documentation, ladies and gentlemen, beats conversation 100% of the time. Here's the reason why you may find that some people will go out and put those things, because there is a proper way to withdraw. You have to follow the proper instructions. When I tried to withdraw and I didn't follow the proper instructions, it would not let me withdraw the funds. So we tell everybody that, before you go to make any withdrawals out of your account, just realize that if your account have not doubled from the trading process, they will charge you an additional 20% early withdrawal fee. Now, typically, we show you that funds double in about 60 days. Actually, it's a little bit less than 60 days if you take the 2 trades every single day. Can I withdraw before? Absolutely. You'll pay a higher withdrawal fee, but yes, you can withdraw at any time. Those are your funds. The minimum withdrawal balance for USDT is $35. Minimum withdrawal. And ladies and gentlemen, there's a 12% withdrawal fee. So we're very clear about what you need to do to withdraw. There's instructions. People say online, right? There's no way that the AI can win over 99% of his trades. Ladies and gentlemen, I just went in my back office. Out of 872 trades that I took, it shows you the win ratio right underneath there, over 99.7%. Again, documentation beat conversation 100% of the time. See, here's the reality. The best way to manage your risk is to think about this and say, look, if I'm right, will I love it? Of course, you're going to love it. But if I'm wrong, can I live with it? Well, let me ask you something. If you put $1 into this company and you were wrong and you lost $1, would you be able to live with it? Well, of course you would. Everybody would. So really, it's the question that you want to ask yourself is, the amount that I put up, am I willing to live with it if anything happens that for some reason I lose all of my money? And so that's what I tell people. As long as you're not putting in more than you can afford to risk, you never have a problem. In fact, you sleep very, very well at night. So here's what I tell everyone. The majority of people come into the company with $300 or more. That's the minimum deposit is $300. However, I don't recommend that. $500, I would tell everybody, is the minimum. Why? Because it's going to put you in line for some future rewards that there are a few people in the company that join with less and they cannot get some of these future rewards. And right now they're really upset about it, but they made the decision in the beginning how they join. You see, when you come in with $500 or more, the first day they're going to add an extra $25 to your account, and the person that referred you also gets additional funds added to their account, and you get additional trades. So the real key is when people start with less than 500, let's say they start with 300, what they're not going to be entitled to is getting 3 trade codes a day versus 2. Now you might think, well, that's not a big deal, just getting 3 trades a day versus 2. Well, you judge for yourself. Remember our example here of $3,000 taking 2 trades a day, and in 60 days, you're looking at somewhere, again, not guaranteed, but somewhere around $6,000 to $6,500. Whereas, ladies and gentlemen, if I was doing 3 trades a day, Same 3,000, but now I'm looking at about 1.8 to 1.9% per day in growth. And now I'm looking at somewhere around 8,000 to 8,700. It's a big difference. And that's in 60 days. It only gets wider every 60 days. The difference is just absolutely astronomical. In fact, I want you to get with the person tonight that invited you on this call and say, show me the compound calculating chart. Please write that down. Say, please show me that chart that he was talking about. And I want to put an amount that I'm comfortable putting in that I can afford to risk, and show me the difference of where I'd be at in a year, and then taking 2 trades a day, and then show me the difference I'll be at in a year taking 3 trades a day. I promise you the difference will blow your mind. And that's why I don't even want to share it here on the line, because when people see it, it's like, oh my God, it's so overwhelming. So get with the person. That way you can ask the question, see it for yourself. Sometimes when people see figures too big on a call, they think, oh my goodness, it's too good to be true. It's unbelievable. And you kind of lose them. And I don't want to lose anybody. So the reality here is, how do we get 3 codes a day versus 2? Well, you have to do a little work. That means you got to go out and share it with people. If you share it with 5 people who all come in at $500 or more, remember, they can't come in at $300 or more. They got to be all at $500 or more, depositing that into their account. And then all of these 5 members, when they have 5 people that they shared it with who all got registered, starting their account with $500 each or more, you now get the 3rd signal. And as a 3rd signal, guys, again, it is absolutely phenomenal. But I want to share with you guys what's really interesting is that in this company, we also get something called salaries. But before I go into talking about that, I'm going to bring up Samantha. Samantha, if you can, please unmute yourself. Tell everybody, I want to interview you tonight. Tell everybody what's been happening with you. Tell everybody about your journey, when you got in, what's going on.
Did you hear me?
Yes, I can, Samantha. Go right ahead.
Hello, Randy. How are you doing this evening?
I am awesome, and it's a pleasure to have you on with us tonight.
Thank you so much for having me. I want to thank you for this awesome presentation that you have given us. So I have joined on July 10th from my sister from another mother, Tara. Tara had told me about BG, and I don't question anything that she did, because we have years together, so I trust her. So when she said jump, I said, okay, I'm one of those, okay, how high? I want to go. So I went ahead and I started off with $1,000 on July 10th of last year. And in the beginning, I didn't, I just copy and paste. And to me, this was so easy. I was sending the codes to Tara. I just feel like I had to do something more. I don't see how easy this is. Do you people have to get paid for this? I used to do DoorDash. I did Uber Eats, and I used to do Uber too. So I used to wake up very early in the morning and go wherever I need to go, so that way I can get my next big thing, trying to make my money. And I didn't make hardly nothing. So as I was going and I was seeing how easy it was, and I shared it with a few people. And by the way, since I'm here, I have to think I would not be here if it wasn't for my wonderful team, Fred, Mahogany, Frank, Miss Helen, and Dennis. They all sat there, are a wonderful team, and they have an amazing team that's coming on as well. So I would not be sitting here talking to anybody if it wasn't for them. And the support and the family and the love that I have. So as time went on, near the end of the year, I start to withdraw. As I sat there and say, I'm going to sit there and try to get my 3rd signal. And then I'm going to sit there and see what it's like to withdraw, because I said, okay, let me try it. I held it long enough. I had things to do. So I started off with a small withdrawal. I seen that went through. Then I did a bigger one. And that was my 2nd withdrawal. And then I went on vacation, And then things happened. You know, I didn't want to withdraw, but I had to withdraw because I had to take care of some of the things I needed to take care of. So throughout this time, at this point, I'm gonna say between November, December, I think I took out maybe close to, if not $5,000. I was seeing my daughter. It was her birthday. I was able to go take her shopping, and also I was able to do some things that normally I would not be able to do if it wasn't for this wonderful opportunity. As I came home, you know, I sat there and, you know, started doing withdrawing just for little stuff. But after I looked at it the other day, I withdrew. I have about 19,000 in my account and a little over 19,000, and I withdrew 43 times. And I said, wow, and it's a pleasure to know that I can actually withdraw with no hesitations. I can sit there and withdraw and do whatever I need to do whenever I want to do it. And I love that. BG has definitely changing my life. It's changing my team's life and all of our lives. And one thing I will say, Randy, thank you so very, very much for looking at this opportunity and changing so many people's lives, because this opportunity is awesome. I'm also have the pleasures of having the third signal, and I am going to tell everyone that the third signal is definitely where you want to strive for, because that would change your entire existence on your life. Thank you so much, Randy, and thanks for my team, and definitely my sister, Tara. I love you to pieces. Thank you so much for thinking of me. And thanks, everybody.
Well, you know what, Samantha, first of all, thank you for coming on. You get a bunch of hearts and hand claps and thumbs up for you. But, you know, you mentioned something, driving for DoorDash. And, you know, you guys know my story. That's exactly what I was doing when I got started here. And Samantha, were you driving? And I want to, guys, can we get real for a minute? I mean, can I get transparent? I want to make sure, Samantha, if it's okay, we get transparent.
It's okay.
When you were driving for DoorDash, were you out there driving for DoorDash because you wanted to, because it was like a career move, something you wanted to do?
No. The only thing that was about DoorDash, besides it's the freedom to do what I want to do. I didn't have to tell nobody when to use the bathroom. But it was not a career move, and I knew I wasn't going to get rich at all.
Absolutely. And you did it because you needed the extra funds. And that's why I was doing it. And, you know, guys, I think about the majority of people out there, you know, and it's not just, and you know, people drive for DoorDash because they get to get money the same day. And every last bit of money that I was taking in the same day, because you could cash it out right away, it was being used up just as fast as it was coming in. And, you know, like Samantha said, we get up early in the morning, that you got to go drive when you don't want to. You try to hit lunch hour, you try to hit the dinner, you know, you're out there doing this because, and she knows exactly what I mean, right? We're out there doing this, and it's not something that we want to do. But ladies and gentlemen, you do it because you're trying to take care of your family. And that's the reason why, you know, Samantha's here. That's why it appealed to her. That's why it appealed to me, because I haven't, and listen, guys, when I started building a team July 1st, and by the end of July, I remember this, July 31st, it was my last delivery. And when I went to the door to drop it off, I just said, thank God, because I had already replaced that income from driving with DoorDash, right? And every day the copy and paste was going up and up and up. And it was such a relief when I could pull my car and I could pull my car off the road and did not have to be out there driving all kinds of hours doing things that I didn't want. So, you know, Samantha, I'm going to say this, and I mean this. I know what you've been through. I can say that, and for you to be out there driving, you know, and as a female, you know, sometimes you never know the situations you're going to get into, but you're just doing this to try to take care of your family. And I'm so thankful now that you have replaced that. I'm so thankful now that you don't have to go out and drive and even sometimes put your life maybe in harm's way, whether it be by the weather or going into a certain area. and I'm gonna say that makes me feel good, Samantha. So thank you for listening to Tara and taking advantage of the opportunity.
Thank you so much. And don't forget you forgot one little small thing. After you finish your shift and you get paid right away, you still got to put half of that into your gas tank.
You're right. You are absolutely right. Oh my goodness. Boy, you brought back some memories there. And I tell you, that's something. So thanks so much, Samantha. Dave, we have you on the line, and it's always a pleasure, Dave, to hear from you. And guys, listen, I'll let Dave tell his story. But just like most of us, we were all skeptical at one time. But Dave, come on the line, tell everybody where you are, what level you are, what has happened with you.
Okay, let's see. Man, you do a great presentation. That's just your level of delivery is just on another level. All right, guys. So now I want to start from the beginning. It's not going to be long. When I first heard about this, I wasn't interested. And the reason I wasn't interested was because I've been in sales for like ever, right? And a lot of times I'm doing six figures, but not lately. The phone has not been ringing for whatever reason. And so when this opportunity came around, I had just closed an escrow and I had put a large portion of my commission in a previous project that I had brought my team over that I thought was going to work out. It didn't. And so when I got the call from my buddy Domini, man, I just wasn't in a position to hear it. I was devastated. In fact, I didn't even have $100 left to get into this. So I wasn't receiving what he was saying. I just didn't want to hear it. But then I did some research and I listened to a presentation and I listened to 4 things that the presenter said. She said we double our money in every 60 days or less. And then she said we have an AI trading bot with a 99.6% win rate. Then she said we have been doing this successfully since 2022. They have been trading successfully since 2022, and that the owner guarantees our trades. So even though I wasn't trying to hear it, I didn't give it a final no. But when I heard the presenter say that, I said, man, this just may be the answer to my prayers, because literally I was praying and I wasn't sure if I was going to lose my house and my car, or my house or my car. I wasn't sure. So I was just praying. And then when this came around, I had to ask myself, could this be what I was praying for? And so then once I decided to get in, I still didn't have the money. And so luckily, Jamani's mom sponsored me into this program. And now here's what's interesting. She said out of her mouth, she said the reason why she did that was because the Holy Spirit guided her to get me in this program. Since then, that was July 4th. I call it my financial Independence Day. So since then, 60 days later, ladies and gentlemen, I did not double my money. I actually 10x'd my money. So I was able to pull out my seed, play with the house's money ever since. So now, since then, since the 4th of July, I'm now level 4. Wow. So that means I'm generating $1,200 every 10 days on top of my trading account. And the trading account has surpassed 6 figures. Wow. And so I'm generating about over $1,900 per day. So I came from not having any money to get started to now being at over $1,900 per day. So everything has changed in terms of my beliefs. So I still haven't gotten a full night's sleep since I got in. But the first thing I do when I wake up, I said, man, I really feel blessed. So ladies and gentlemen, if you're thinking about doing this, don't even think about it. Thank the person who brought you here and you get started. Double your money in less than 60 days, pull it out, play with the house's money. I think about things, Randy, and I think about the negativity that we see online. And I think about, well, what kind of a scammer encourages us to withdraw? What kind of a scammer wants us to go and have lunch with people and he pays us to do that. What kind of a scammer registers with the SEC and the Financial Crimes and Enforcement Network? Well, no scammer is going to do that because they don't want their name out there. That's why this is so solid, man.
Exactly. Dave, you make some very, very good point. Guys, can we give Dave a bunch of hearts on the screen? Because that is absolutely incredible. You know, Dave, it's interesting. You know, we're talking here about this chart that we're seeing here. And, you know, everybody starts out in the same position. When you first get in, it's just you. And you have one simple task to do, and that's copy and paste 2 trades a day. And that's what we do. That's what everybody does. And you start to become a believer a little bit more each day as each day goes on. And so it's interesting, you know, we talk about, as you see here on the screen, Dave talked about a salary that he gets, an extra $1,200, you know, every 10 days. That's paid on the 9th, the 19th, and the 29th. So what's interesting about that, ladies and gentlemen, is this. Everybody starts out by just taking their 2 trades a day. If you decide to share it with people, and maybe that's one of the reasons why the person invited you on this call tonight, is because they want to not only help you, but maybe they want you to be a part of their first 5 people. Because if you're a part of their first 5 people, they're going to get a $100 reward. Plus, it starts their $30 extra added to their account every 10 days on the 9th, the 19th, and the 29th. But those first 5 people are so special. And you know why they're special? Because the person that invited you, they want to help you go out and literally share this with 5 people. Why do they want to do that? Well, if to go to level 2, they got to have at least 2 of their personally sponsored 5 people. 2 of them have to have at least 5 people, right? So they have a direct interest in helping you. They don't just want you to come in and copy and paste, but they want to help you to build. Why? Because if they help you build, you now can start to get a salary, and then their salary goes up, because once they have 2 people who have 5, and they have a total of 25 people on their team, they now move from $30 every 10 days to now getting an extra $150 every 10 days. Now, Dave mentioned a very important point. Dave said that when he started, he didn't have a lot of money to get started with. But you guys notice what he said his account is at right now. And Dave, if you want to reiterate that just for folks, how much did you initially end up getting started with? And then how many figures is trading in your account right now every day?
Started with $527 because the company gives you a starting reward. And so now, I guess it's 7 months later. I didn't do the math, but 7 months later, it's over 100,000.
Guys, you guys understand that? That's withdrawable funds that he can pull out. You talk about Dave made a decision. See, in the beginning, he could have said no. He was inclined to say no. If he measured it on the things that he tried before that didn't work, he would have stayed saying no. If he had considered all of the negative things that he saw out there online 7 months ago, he could have said no. He had every reason to. But I can guarantee this. I can guarantee if he had said no 7 months ago and not joined the company, I can guarantee you that he would not have 6 figures in his trading account right now. I can guarantee you that of all the withdrawals that he's taken, he would not have not one of those withdrawals. That's what I can guarantee you. See, nobody knows the future, but Dave made a decision based on the level of risk, because he said, listen, I can risk $500 to see if this is going to work out for me like it's working out for everyone else that's in the company to 500,000 plus other people. You know, what's also interesting, guys, is that, you know, as you continue to help your team grow, then the bonuses go up to $500 every 10 days, then $1,200 every 10 days, then $2,400, then $5,000, then $10,000. And I'm not going to bore you, ladies and gentlemen, with all the requirements, because most of you, if you're brand new, you won't remember them anyway. But what I do want you to remember is that these are extra funds that people get on a regular basis on top of what's in their trading account every single day that they trade. They're earning what's in their account, and then every 10 days, they're getting this additional amount. What's interesting, though, I want to draw your attention to is level 7, because as a level 7, if you hit this level before the end of this year, not only will you get a $25,000 bonus, not only will you get $10,000 added to your account every 10 days, but oh, there's another special bonus. And that is you get to choose your dream car, and the company is going to make the payments. And the car has to be valued. They won't let you go buy a $5,000 car. No, no, no. It's got to be something of value. So they're saying minimum the car has to cost $50,000, and it can cost as much as $300,000. They'll make a payment, every single payment on the car, and it's titled in your name. Ladies and gentlemen, that is life-changing if you accomplish this before the end of 2026. Now, by way of hearts on the screen, how many people would love to hit level 7 and get their car and get the $10,000 every 10 days added to their trading account? And look at all the hearts coming up. See, ladies and gentlemen, you have to, first of all, dream about this. If you cannot dream about something, you could never, ever be able to achieve it. In fact, that's what they said, that the majority of people die around the age of 18, but they're not buried until they're around 70, 80, 90 years old. Why? Because they stopped dreaming. They died. Their dreams, their goals, their ambitions, they didn't want to try anything else. This is what I have. This is my lot in life. This is what I have to do. I got to go to a job every day that's making me sick and tired, and I'm sitting there working just hard enough not to get fired. And then when that job lets me down and it closes, now I got to go find another job, and then maybe I have to go out and drive extra like we did for, delivering food. Whatever the case may be, ladies and gentlemen, you have no control at all whatsoever over your financial future. Professor Stephen Beard made a statement the other day, and I thought it was so profound. In fact, I'm going to add it to one of the presentations that we do. But to put it in short, he was basically saying everyone that has joined BG, it was more or less congratulations, because now you're on track to join the wealthy. And ladies and gentlemen, I thought that was so profound, because after being in for a year, I see exactly what he was talking about. All I have to do is copy and paste, do what I'm supposed to do every single day, ladies and gentlemen, and your life can change. In fact, the professor put up 5 additional levels, ladies and gentlemen. It's all the way up to now level 12, where there's a $2 million bonus for every person hitting level 12. And an additional $1 million every 10 days. I don't know who invited you here, but I want to share some interesting facts with you. By the end of 2024, there was only about 8,000 people in the United States that was aware of what was going on with BGwealthsharing. By the end of 2025, there was over 86,000. How many do you think are going to be aware and benefiting from this by the end of 2026? Will you be one of them? You're looking, ladies and gentlemen, at documentation. And as I said, it beats conversation 100% of the time. This company posted their financial performance overview. They did it at the end of 2024. They did it again at the end of 2025, and they'll do it again at the end of 2026. Here's the question. Are you ready to create your BG story. Ladies and gentlemen, only you and only you can decide that. So while we're waiting on the trade results, I'm going to ask a very simple question because we don't like to keep people on the line for longer than an hour. And by way of hearts, I'm going to ask a very simple question. If you're excited and you're happy about your decision to join BG, and if you're experiencing a life-changing situation right now, flood the screen full of hearts so that all the new people can know. And if you got paid today from the earlier trade, or if that trade result is out on that trade, put hearts up, ladies and gentlemen, if you just got paid. Because I know I did. I'm excited. Yeah. I'm loving being here. I want to thank each and every one of you on this Friday night for coming out. We appreciate all of you. And I want to say, have a great evening and good night, everybody.